Very good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Very good afternoon. Today we are going to discuss one important topic in second semester, second sem, as ability enhancement compulsory course, environmental studies. Topic is introduction to environmental studies. In this topic, we are going to cover about environment and components of environment, environmental science, and what is environmental studies, and scope of environmental studies, and natural resource management and conservation, and different environmental movements organized in India, and lastly, environmental calendars. Now, first we are going to discuss about the environment. Environment means surrounding, anything and everything with surround us. The environment meaning is surrounding. The word derived from the French word environ. Environ means surrounding all the living beings. The biotic components, that may be microbes, plants, animals, and another non-living organisms, that are abiotic components: air, water, sunlight. The present nature, the Environmental Protection Act 1986 defined the environment as: environment includes water, air, land, and the interrelationship which exist among and between the water, air, and land. Why environment is important? The environment is important for everyone's life, because life on the earth is possible only from the environment. All human beings, animals, and the plants, different microbes contained within the environment. Environment is not only works to maintain the balance in the climatic conditions, and also it provides the necessary things for our life. On the other hand, where technology have been encouraged by science, and there has been a lot of development in the world and responsible for increasing environmental pollution. What have been sorry. So human beings are the main cause of degradation of the environment, causing the pollution by cutting the trees. Due to their selfishness, playing with the natural resources, they consuming over when required, due to which the environment is being harmed. Now, some man-made reasons in the atmosphere, hydrosphere, we are facing lot of environmental issues. Arising global warming. This is one of the main issue to dangerous for human health. So we need to understand the importance of environment to save our natural environment. The environment is very important for everyone life. There are many reasons, including health and well-being, economic impact, biodiversity, ecosystem protection, and natural capital of the states and environmental services. What is health and well-being? The environment provides for us a clean air as well as food to we eat and space for recreation. And it also provides the mental health. Environment provide mental health and economic impact. The economy will increase with the ecosystem and the environment due to nature-based sources we use. For example, tourism is the one of the economic aspect in economic impact of environment. Next one is the biodiversity. Biodiversity means living things, the variation in living forms. That may be plants, microorganisms, animals, and other living forms. India is the one of the mega biodiversity country in the world. India having very much flora and fauna, plants and animals, important plants and animals. The environment maintains in the biodiversity as genetic variation, which ensures the continuation of the living things, the lives. Next one is the ecosystem protection. Ecosystem means biotic and abiotic environment. Biotic communities living in the abiotic environment. The ecosystem protection protects the ecosystem, which includes the animals, different agriculture crops, and ourselves also. Next one is the natural capital. Natural capital means the economy will increase with the natural resources. Next, environmental services. The services of environment help for clean air, clean water, by photosynthesis, production of food, different ecosystems provide the medicines, reduce the chemical pollution as well as noise pollution, especially in urban areas. They control the erosions. These are the examples for these environmental services. There are many other environmental services are there. The environmental studies is an interdisciplinary field because it deals with the environmental science and environmental policy, environmental resource management, environment and societies, conservation of biology, life forms, and the geography included in environmental studies and environmental engineering also. These are the fields associated with the environmental studies. First one is the environmental science. It focuses with the science. It's an interdisciplinary field that combines with the biology, chemistry, and meteorology, and the geography, and other allied subjects in the environmental science. In the environmental science, we discuss the conservation of the resources, pollution, climate change, and other impact sources related to the environment. Next one is the environmental policy. Any policy examines the roles of the laws, regulations, and laws related to the environmental issues. And environmental resource management. The resources for sustainability we need to conserve. The resources may be renewable resources, and the resources impact the economics. Next, environment and society. The environment connects the environmental studies with different environmental issues to present century. In the conservation biology, it covers the management of the ecosystem services and organisms. For example, forest biodiversity, different medicinal plants we are conserving in the conservation biology. Next, geography, the study of the physical and human features on the earth, including the environment. Geographically distributed life forms on this earth. This we will study in the geography. Next one is the environmental engineering. Engineering is a branch of environmental science that uses different techniques, engineering techniques, to protect the environment, natural environment, and prevent the pollution sources with the engineering techniques. This is called environmental engineering. The environmental studies is interdisciplinary field. It is associated with all other subjects, allied subjects, life sciences, physical sciences, life sciences including biology, biochemistry, microbiology, biotechnology. For example, microbiology. In the soil, we consist different microorganisms that can help in the soil fertility to improve the crop production. Next, physical sciences, engineering studies, and economics, politics, mathematics, computer science, all are interrelated with the environmental studies. Next, components of environment. There are 4 different components in our environment: lithosphere, hydrosphere, atmosphere, and the biosphere. What is lithosphere? The lithosphere is the outermost shell of the shell on the earth. It composed of crust, mantle, core. The uppermost lithosphere that react with the environment, atmosphere, and hydrosphere, and the biosphere through soil forming process that is called pedosphere, the formation of the soil. The lithosphere is 2 types: oceanic and the continental lithosphere. The continental lithosphere associated with the continental crust, and the oceanic crust exists in the oceanic basins. The lithosphere, the word lithos from Greek, the Earth's crust is layered with sedimentary rocks on the top, granite and metamorphic rocks in the center, basaltic rock in the bottom. The lithosphere consisted these 3 layers. The earth crust structure can be stratified into these 3 regions. Lithosphere is the outermost layer of the crust, which represents the total landmass of the planet. It consists soil, different sediments, and rocks. Next one is the hydrosphere. Hydro means water. Hydrosphere represents water masses, for example, ice cover, lakes, glaciers, different ponds, seas, glaciers, and rivers and waterfalls. The hydrosphere is important for life because it contains water, which is essential for the survival, essential for the life on the earth. The hydrosphere includes all the water on the earth, including fresh water, salt water, frozen waters, and groundwater. Most of the hydrosphere made up of oceans because which cover more than 70% of the Earth's surface, with oceanic water. The distribution of world's water is oceans 97%, all the water. In that, freshwater 3%. In the freshwater, groundwater only 20%. In that, accessible for living organisms is only 1%. The hydrosphere used for mainly sustains life on the earth. It provides life on the earth and it regulates the atmosphere. It regulates the temperature in the atmosphere, maintain the climatic zones, different climatic zones, and connects earth system. It helps to connect the earth system and water cycle. Next one is the atmosphere. What is atmosphere? An atmosphere is the blanket of gases. It surrounds the Earth's surface. Earth. An atmosphere is made up of layers of the gases surround the Earth planet. The Earth planet, Earth atmosphere composed of 78% of nitrogen, 21% of oxygen, and 1% of other gases consisting. The atmosphere is the protective layer of gases that shelters our lives on the earth, keeping temperatures in the range, and it conserve and it blocking out the harmful rays from the sunlight. The atmosphere helps to retain the sun's heat and prevents it from the temperature, and it protects life forms harmful radiation from the sunlight. It plays a major role in the Earth's surface, in the water cycle, helps keep in the climate and moderate. The Earth atmosphere is made up of several layers. Next one is the biosphere. Bios means life. It is from Greek word. Biosphere is the self-regulating, overlapping region of the atmosphere, lithosphere and the hydrosphere in the environment. The life sustains on this biosphere because the life sustainability exists, nourished and flourished on this layer. In the biosphere, autotrophs and heterotrophs, biotic community to help in the predation process, food production, and the abiotic components, air, water, sunlight, and rocks in the nature, it consists in the biosphere. The biosphere interlinked with the atmosphere and geosphere and the hydrosphere. Oceans, deserts, and tundras are the examples of the biosphere. And one of the important aspect in the biosphere is the photosynthesis. All the living forms a process of production of food from the autotrophs, sunlight energy from the sun into chemical energy, which provides living organisms with a form of energy as food we consume. Next one is the natural resources. Natural resources are materials from the earth that humans uses to meet their needs and life support on the earth. They can be biological or mineral, aesthetic in the nature. It provides without human intervention. Some of the natural resources, energy resources, energy resources that are coal, oil, and natural gas, and geothermal energy also. These are the energy resources in our natural environment, and soil and minerals that includes sand, stones, and metals, and different metals, rocks, and water. Groundwater and surface water is the natural resource on the earth. And forest. We have biodiversity. Biodiversity is very important on the life support. Different plants and animals, microorganisms exist on the earth. And ecosystem services, carbon sequestration, and food attenuation. These are the examples of the natural resources. The natural resources are sunlight, forest, rocks, minerals, soil, air, and different oils, crude oil, and finally water. These are the natural resources earth consisting. Our father of nation, Mahatma Gandhiji said about the natural resources, our planet Earth has enough to satisfy every man's needs, but not every man's greeds. We have enough resources to use, but we don't use as greed. There are two types of renewable resources that are renewable and non-renewable. Renewable resources that can replenish naturally over a time with a natural process. For example, sunlight, wind, water, and forests. These resources can be replenished in some time. These renewable resources play a crucial role in the maintaining the ecological balance and sustainable practices on the earth. And the non-renewable resources, the resources are limited supply and can over a period of time that cannot replenish after the usage. Examples of the non-renewable resources are coal, oil, and the natural gas. Fossil fuels take thousand years to form on the earth. Their extraction and use have for reaching environmental and socio-economic implications. So conservation of non-renewable resources is very important and for the human existence. Next, importance of environment. These are already we have discussed for health and well-being, economic impact, biodiversity, for ecosystem protection, and environmental services. These are the importance for the environment. Now, environmental movements in India. Environmental movements are social movements. Many individuals, groups arise their voice against the environmental degradation, for protection of environment, for climate change, degradation of the forest, and other issues. And environmental economical movements are very important. The causes of environmental movements. The occurrence of natural calamities, degradation of natural resources, industrialization, and urbanization. The imbalance of the ecosystem services on the earth leads to the environmental movements in India. Major developmental activities leads to environmental movements. The major reasons are for the environmental movements: control over natural resources. Over natural resources we are utilizing for ourselves. The human intervention is the main cause for the degradation of the natural resources. Irrespective of the mining resources, we are utilizing the false developmental policies of the government and right to access forest resources. When we don't have access to use the resources, for example, tribals that did somebody depend on the forest area, forest nearby villages. They depend on the forest services for food and timber and other resources, and also for medicinal use. When they don't have the access to take the forest resources, automatically arise the movement regarding the environmental access and non-commercial use of natural resources. And social justice, human rights, violation of human rights in the ecosystem can lead to environmental movement. And socio-economic reasons, indiscriminate use of the resources for the economic growth leads to the environmental movement and environmental degradation. Cutting of trees, killing the animals, poaching of the animals, and this leads to the environmental movements. Spread of natural environmental awareness and media. It is very important in the conservation of the environment. Major environmental movements organized in the India. First one is the Silent Valley movement. The Silent Valley movement was a social and environmental movement. In 1970s, the Silent Valley movement aimed to protect Silent Valley. The evergreen subtropical forest in Kerala, Palghat district. It is surrounded by the different hills. The reason for this movement, Silent Valley, Kerala Shastra Sahitya Parishad initiated to arise the voice against the Silent Valley movement. There is a Kerala State Electricity Board to establish the hydroelectric dam that can displace the communities in the Silent Valley, degrade the biodiversity. The movement goals were protect valley of the unique ecosystem, prevent the displacement of the indigenous communities, and to raise the environmental awareness issues to establish the environmental policies in their state. The Silent Valley movement inspired several movements in India. The movement was successful in 1984, and then it was declared as the one of the national park in India. The many environmental groups like Narmada Bachao Andolan, Bombay Natural History, and Silent Valley Action Forum participated in this movement to conserve the Silent Valley. Next, Chipko movement. Chipko means hugging the trees. Is a forest conservation movement opposed to commercial logging and government policies on deforestation. The protesters in 1970s engaged in tree hugging, wrapping their arms around the trees. So they protected the forest services in that area. The forest resource exploration was considered behind natural calamities like floods and landslides can impact the displacement of the communities. So on the March 27, the decision was taken, Chipko, that is hug of the trees. the threatened by the acts. Thus, the Chipko Andolan movement was born in 1973, April 24. It is the one of the successful environmental movement in India. Next one is the Jungle Bachao Andolan. It is the Save Forest movement. It is a significant movement in the India environmental movement, 1980s and 1990s. The local people were concerned for the rapid deforestation and the government policy. The tribals consider the salt trees holy and worship during the spring festival Sarhul. The tribals led this movement. The movement spread to near states, surrounding states, highlighted the gap between the forest department and people wishes. So the Narmada Bachao Andolan, the Jungle Bachao Andolan succeeded with this movement. The next one is the Apico movement. In 1983, a women and youth in the region of the South India, it is the similar movement to the Chipko, hugging the trees, the movement named as Apico, the symbolizing the protection of the trees and natural services. The management was founded, led by an environmental activist, Panduranga Hegde. The aim of the movement was to conserve the trees, valuable biodiversity, valuable plants in the Kalse forest in the Karnataka states. The women and youth involved in this movement and the villages walked for different miles to nearby forest, hugged the trees. It is the one of the biggest movement in environmental concern. The people demanded to ban the felling of the trees, valuable trees. The agitation impacted the 38 days, and the movement spread in other states also. Like Chipko movement, uh, the Chipko and Apicco movement, the both movements are in the Gandhian way of protection of the forests for sustainable use. Next, Narmada Bachao Andolan. It is the Indian social movement led by the native tribes in the forest area, farmers, and different environmentalists involved in this movement. And it was also a successful environmental movement against the Narmada River Development Project, which involves the construction of 30 huge dams on the river, Narmada River. It was one of the world's largest multi-purpose water project initiated and production of the hydropower generation in Gujarat, Madhya Pradesh, and Maharashtra. The Narmada Bachao Andolan and the human rights activists, environmental activists farmers protested against this project, against this biggest project as part of the conservation of the natural resources, forest, and against displacement of the communities. One of the famous leader in India, Mehta Patkar, and other advocates involved in this Narmada Bachao Andolan and succeeded. The environmentalists and advocates for long-term management of the natural resources and for natural environment. The environment is frequently emphasized in the movements as a result, public policies changed in their states and they concern regarding the ecology, health, and the human rights. The ecology, health, and human rights are the head of the heart of the many environmental movements. The dams main aim to provide the irrigation and electricity to the people, but displacement of the communities, displacement of the natural ecosystem, degradation of the environment is the major issues arising with these multi-purpose projects. And next one is the environmental awareness. Environmental awareness is the process of educating public about the environment, about the natural resources, about the pollution, and about the conservation of the natural resources. It is the environmental awareness is need to protect all these things. The environmentalism, the ideology of the humans are the responsible for the protecting our natural resource, natural world. Some ways to raise the environmental awareness include education, encouraging in the participation of the people, and promotion of the 3R, and support local business and have environmental champions. The environmental awareness help to preserve the natural resources and reduce the environmental damage. These ways to raise the environmental awareness, education, development, develop the sensitivity to environmental issues, to teach people how identify and solve environmental problems, sensitize the people to conserve the resources, and encourage participation, active participation in the environmental protection and development of the people where the environmental movements raised. Next, promote 3R. Encourage the people to reduce the waste, reuse the material, recycling of the materials. Promotion of 3R is the effective management of solid waste. It is promoted across the country. It is very important in the sustainable life. It supports the sustainable life. and support local. In the part of environmental awareness, support local business. Why the environmental awareness is important? Because public awareness is about the importance of the environment, ecosystem, and preservation of natural resources and destruction of the forest, destruction of the habitats, majorly environmental degradation, human activities like construction, pollution, urbanization, and deforestation are causing the environment degradation. Climate change nowadays one of the major issue the worldwide. Rising carbon dioxide levels are causing the atmospheric change, increasing the global warming, increasing the global temperature. So climate change awareness is the one of the most urgent need. Next one is the government policies. Government policies, public awareness and access to information help the support government policies and laws. And next one is the organization and protection. Public participation is essential in every organization. Effective organization only with the effective participation of the public. It leads the protection of the environment. Some factors lead to environmental awareness, mainly depletion of the resources, extinction of the important organisms, arising global warming, population increase, one of the major issue in developed countries, pollution and ozone layer depletion, worldwide issues, and scarcity of clean water and food. Nowadays, the clean water, accessible water is not available for everyone due to the contamination of the water bodies. Some of the awareness issues, how we can give the awareness, environmental awareness, spend time in the nature, the outdoors, spending nature, learn about the environment, how to care the environment, how to conserve the environment, what are the resources we have in our surrounding. So we need to spend in the nature. And use social media. The nowadays social media is the one of the biggest platform to reach the people. Social media campaigns can encourage people to make the changes to reduce the environmental impact by their actions. Next, create digital content. Create compelling stories related to the environment that can raise the awareness. Next, conduct surveys. Surveys can be used to gather the feedback of the public, communities, and different individuals and unions related to about environmental problems. The conducting surveys can useful the status of the present environmental issues, and the design posters. Different uh, designing posters about the environmental display in the public places. For examples, uh, railway stations, bus stations, and the traffic signal areas. These are the important in the awareness of the environmental. And another one is the volunteer. Volunteering locally on environmental projects, awareness, and issues can help the awareness to conserve it. Next one is the attend rallies and marches. Different NGOs and national international organizations conducting several rallies and marches for the environmental issues that can also raise awareness in the communities. And contact elected officials. The elected officials have authority to help the people to and help the raise awareness throughout their ruling area. And finally, recommended books and movies. Books and movies can help people to conceptualize about the pollution and climate change, biodiversity, destruction of the resources, conservation of the resources. The another important thing is environmental education. Environmental education is a process that teaches people about the environment, how it is works, how to make responsible decisions regarding the environmental protection, develop awareness, build skills in the people about environmental problems, encourage their actions, encourage their involvement and their participation, inspire the people to take the action to improve the environmental in a sustainable way. It is the most important in the environmental awareness. And next one is the IPCC, Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change. The international organization involved in awareness globally. It was succeeded and it was awarded with the Nobel Prize in 2007. and Convention on Biological Diversity to protection of the biological diversity, conservation of the biological diversity. Many conferences regarding the pollution control and the desertification and other environmental issues. Different national, international organizations monitoring the awareness programs across the world that are helping the environment to conserve. Next one is the COPE. COPE means Conference of Parties. Till now, 28 conferences in the worldwide organized with the United Nations Climate Change Conference. Different parties means different countries involved in these conferences. They share their views and their policies regarding the conservation of the environment, how they are involving in the protection of environment is the conference of parties. Every year it has been conducting into 2024. United Nations will be conducted 29th conference in Baku, and in 2023 it was conducted in Dubai, and the UNFCCC, United Nations Climate Change Conference, held in 13th November in the Dubai, United Arab Emirates, conducted COP28. And the next one is the environmental calendar. The environmental calendar dates are designed to creating the awareness of environmental issues. For example, biodiversity and climate change. For example, February 2nd, World Wetland Day. How to wetland conservation? What is the importance of the conservation of wetlands? We discuss on that particular day to raise the awareness through the environmental day. There are many environmental days we are conducting globally every year. Every month, 1 or 2 environmental days at least we need to conduct for our sustainable development, to reach our sustainable development goals. All these environmental days are covering 17 sustainable developmental goals. Thank you. Thank you for the patience. Tomorrow I will continue with the ecosystem topic.